It is August 12th, 2025, and you are listening to Welcome to Mornings with Mother, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is another day in paradise. It is Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. And my goodness, every day the news continues to give us more and more and more. And what I am learning is we have to pay attention to what's happening because on Instagram and all the other spaces, people are showing up with their cameras and telling you what's happening in real time, which may not always be on the news itself. And so I saw something this morning that I wanted you all to listen to that's happening in Georgia as we speak.
This is a public service announcement. I need all my seniors in the house by 9 o'clock, really 8 o'clock going forward. And everyone, if you have a mother or father or grandparent who has dementia, I need you to really be watching and taking care of them. If they're outside, ICE is doing raids. They just did one in Fayetteville, Georgia. As of last night, people were picked up. If you did not have your ID on you, you were picked up. It doesn't matter if you didn't look like you were Hispanic or whatever. It doesn't matter that you will be picked up. It's very important. Make sure for all of my seniors, you make sure you have your ID on you 24/7. I prefer you do not come outside after 8 or 9 p.m. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. They had 32 police cars and multiple vans outside taking people away last night in Fayetteville, Georgia at a hotel event. At a hotel event. You heard it here first. I need y'all to take care of my seniors. Now, to the women in America, I need y'all change purses a lot. Make sure you have your ID on you 24/7. You will be picked up. They do not care, and you will be taken in. Please, please, please be aware and be careful. Take care of my seniors, please.
All right. Good morning. This is happening in rural Georgia at this point. We also know that the President of the United States has declared, I don't know what he's declared in Washington, D.C., that he's taken over the streets. He is taken over the police department there. The mayor, Muriel Bowser, was on CNN last night, I believe, saying that she kind of sort of welcomes this because, extra people on the streets will help with crime, even though crime is down 25%. I am told by my friends who are in Washington, D.C., who also works in Washington, D.C., that it is a ghost town there. There is no activity. So I'm wondering what happened to all the tourists. Everybody is just feeling, good morning, Teresa Brown Paris. Everybody is feeling uncomfortable at this point. Now I see this from the gentleman saying that he wants seniors especially to be off the road at 8 o'clock at night because they're sending ICE raids out now in rural Georgia. And so the president himself has said he is going to do this in other cities. Good morning, Sharon Manker. Let me just open this up. That he's sending folks in others from other cities. My phone lines are open this morning, 215-400-0146. I'll put it in here so we can talk. Because now at this point, someone has said, we all know what's going on and we're not quite sure what to do and what our power of agency is in what we can do. And so join us, try and see if I can open up something else. I've had a really rough evening, so I'm trying to let me see if I can open this, if it will open. I don't know if I can get this. Oh, here we go. Listen to this. I want to make sure that Okay. Now you've heard all of that. You heard me. Oh, so you all did not hear that? You did not hear that. Okay. All right. Let me. I'm gonna have to find it. Let me just make sure. Someone says they can't hear this. So the second thing that I played, you could not hear it. Okay. All right. I'm going to send it to myself, and then blah 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 blah. Hold on, because I want you to hear this. I do really want you to hear this.
Because you don't want to lose your couch.
Let me.
Republican Party. America's not failing because of Trump. It's failing because you don't want to lose your couch. You know what I think the Trump and the Republican Party are actually betting on? Not the courts, not even election, not even the lies. I think that they're betting on you. I think that they're betting that no matter whatever happens, when push comes to shove, you're going to do what's necessary to hold on to your little bit of crumbs no matter what. Because let's be honest, people care more about their position in the hierarchy than the fact that the hierarchy even exists. You'll fight your neighbor over a parking spot, but you won't fight your government when it steals from you in broad daylight. You're mad, so you say, but you're not really mad enough to do anything. And see, they know that. They know that most people would rather hang on to the little bit of scraps that they have than risk those scraps to push back against something. That house you still paying the bank for, that car note, those clothes, that jewelry, all of that stuff keeps you in check more than any law ever could. And here's the irony. The same system that you claim is broken, you're still loyal to it. You'll complain about it, sure, but deep down, you'll obey it because you don't want to drop from the middle of the ladder to the bottom. So you'll protect it, even if that means protecting the very people that are destroying you. And that's exactly why this keeps happening. That's why they keep winning. Because the truth is this: America really isn't being destroyed from the top. It's quietly being surrendered from the bottom. So maybe the back from it, right? I think the real question is, do we even want to?
Baby. So the first thing I played was the gentleman talking about ICE raids in rural Georgia. The second clip I played was a sister who's a psychologist on Instagram who says we are falling apart as a country, because not because the government is failing us at the top. We're failing ourselves by just trying to hold on to what we have because we're afraid that if we push back, then we'll lose everything that we have. Here's the thing, though. We're losing it anyway. We are. And it's why, I had lunch with a dear sister yesterday, and she was like, I'm living my life. I've got my this, I got my that. And I sat quietly and I said to myself, we as a people have got to sit and understand it is not what we own or what we wear on our backs. It is really just about how we are keeping our agency. What are we doing that's causing us to lose all the things that are going around? Because if we see people becoming unhoused because they can't afford to pay their rent or their mortgage, if we see people having their cars repossessed, if we see the hundreds of thousands of women, particularly Black ones, that have lost their jobs in the last 14, 15 months, but more recently in the last 4 to 5 months. And we sit and we say, cluck, 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 cluck. I feel sorry for them, but I'm going over here next week. And I'm not telling you not to enjoy your life, but I'm saying if we don't stand collectively to speak up about the things that matter to us, whether it's in government or in our regular everyday lives, when they come for us, there will be nobody to help us. And you better believe it's not just going to happen to some of us, it's happening to all of us. So what's the deal? How are we going to do this? It's hard, y'all. I say it over and over again that it is hard. It is not an easy thing for us to navigate and manage, but here we are. So the phone lines are open, and I'm going to make sure that I share this number with you. Good morning, Jasenia. 215. Oh my God. I had a really rough ending to my day yesterday. 4000146. And so I am not in my best place, but we're going to work this out. Okay, so that's the number to call in. I need you to call me, 215-400-0146. It shows up on Facebook. I can put it on Instagram too, because there's so much going on. I want you to call and tell me What are you hearing out on the streets, right? What are you hearing from family members? What's going on? I have a sibling that works in DC, in the heart of DC. And she said it is so crazy there right now. It's so eerily quiet. There is no activity. People have just disappeared. They've disappeared into their homes, disappeared into, wherever it is that they are. They're not coming out and enjoying as they should because there's a fear there. And whole communities are feeling like they cannot. And I think of places like Howard University and all those colleges and American University, all the colleges that are sitting there. But speaking of Howard, I had a conversation with a current student at Howard University. And I promised her that I would not, because she said she loves the college, she loves the school. She said, but what's happening at the bursar's office is just absolutely untenable. And she said they don't answer the phone. There are thousands of people without housing right now. And somebody from the bursar's office told her that they were told not to even answer the phone and that people figure out their housing. So what she says is happening at Howard is that only the 1 or 2% of people with the enough money to just pay their tuition outright are going to be able to have students there. Because right now, a year's tuition, not room and board, a year's tuition at Howard University is $63,000 a year. She says that it's now commensurate with Ivy League school, like a Penn. Their numbers are really high tuition. But she said only 68% of them graduate on time. 68% of them. This is a current student that I spoke to. We did a Zoom meeting and we recorded it so that I can go back and, pull out some of the things that she talked about. But I promised her, because she's a current student, she says, I got a thing that says an extra $6,000. I did not get student loans and all those other things because my parents could not afford it, she said. And so she's been working 2 and 3 jobs and getting internships and trying to find the scholarships. And it's just not easy. And so she said Howard is not only not answering the phones, people are so frustrated. And the people who are walking around like all is well are the ones whose parents can just pay for their tuition outright. She also said, oh, here's the phone ringing. Hold on. Welcome to Mornings with Mother. How may I help you?
It's Laura.
Hi, Laura. How are you, darling?
Good. I called you yesterday because I was watching that DC protest.
Mm-hmm.
They were protests down there, but you probably weren't out of it by then.
Yeah.
But here's my thought. I still think it's not safe for Black folks to be out protesting.
Yeah.
I think that this is maybe a way to draw us out, but I just want a way that we can support something, some kind of a way, whether we can donate somewhere or volunteer somewhere. I've really been thinking about that, and I wanted to see what you thought. How can we still help the movement, but just not be out there?
So
he seems to be going to the African American cities too, like what's on tour is African American cities, and I'm concerned about us being out there and getting our heads cracked.
But we've been saying this for a long time, that it's not just about the immigrants or the Latinos or the Asians.
Exactly.
We are all on the menu. And what we began seeing first were the amount of the hundreds of thousands of Black women who were laid off recently. And one of the things that was cited was that we were the most degreed, that we had the most degrees, right? And I keep telling y'all, everything is not for social media, because we were talking about all the degrees and and it's nice. It is wonderful to feel accomplished, but they're using what we're posting against us. And so all these Black women with doctoral degrees, master's degrees, and even regular degrees, the first one, undergraduate degrees, they're pissed off And I told you all this in 2018, that when President Trump won the first time and I went into a meeting with a bunch of teachers, they were gleeful because they said Black women in particular were getting more degrees and taking the jobs that they would ordinarily get from their uncles or whatever else, right? I told you all this in 2018. Okay. I said, please be mindful. So what I'm going to share with you is this. Because we are not, it is important that we not share online the things that we're saying and doing. So if you see somebody that needs help, if you see somebody that needs some support because they're going through, quietly go help them. Just quietly go help them. Show up in that way. I have been saying that. Quietly go help people when you see that they need help. Quietly. Sometimes, Sunday we were at the merch pop-up, Laura. I cannot tell you how many people I hugged that just dissolved into tears, just screaming that they can't even vocalize what the hell is wrong. Just tears coming down their faces.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to be, even if it's giving a hug and quietly saying, such and such and such and such and such and such and such. There are things that have been happening that I've been dealing with other folks. I don't talk about it here because I'm protecting people, right? But we have to know that when folks need a little bit of something, Mr. Man's Frisbee, big black ball, did I really want to get up and be out on a Saturday at 90 degrees? But I know that, brother, if we didn't get up and do what we needed to do to support him and to help him, then what were we going to do, right? Someone said Muriel had been in it. Muriel Bowser, who is the mayor of Washington D.C., had been fearing. So she's dancing. They're saying on CNN she's dancing in the line and trying to play the games with the president just to make sure. But what can she do? What can she do?
She's playing exactly. She's walking a tightrope, and she's doing it. To me, look like she's doing a good job of it.
And
we all she got to strategize too. I mean, she needs time to strategize.
And sometimes, a couple of weeks ago I did an interview and there was thought that the mayor of this city wasn't talking about what was going on with the president and being a sanctuary city. And someone, I think it was Tiffany McIntyre, said, but maybe she's being quiet because she's trying to protect us in a different way. Right? Not drawing attention to us, because when he opened his mouth, he talked about Chicago, but he never mentioned Philadelphia. No, he didn't. But let me tell you something. We cannot get comfortable in thinking that he won't come to Philadelphia.
Exactly. That's not.
Right? So there has to be some give in how the hell are we doing this? And doing it means that we are quietly doing it. Quietly doing it.
Okay.
It really, truly.
So basically, Mother, we need to be supporting of individual, like we supported Mr. Man Frisbee. We need to be more supportive of
without saying
going on in our
right. Without going, I'm doing this because blah 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 blah. David and I had conversations with all of you, and we said this is the time to be silent, to move silently, not to make a whole big thing facade out of it.
Here's my thought. I don't want us to seem like as Black folks that we're not supportive of the people that are marching. Is there a way we can individually, maybe we can just seek out how we can help? Maybe on an individual level, we can say, well, this organization is marching. Maybe we can give some time or make a donation to them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, and
because I don't want to seem like.
But why does it have to come out through the support of marchers? You can come out by supporting businesses that that are small, that are going to be struggling in this. You can support it by helping someone who has lost their jobs and their cars may be getting ready to be repossessed, or they need help with their mortgage payment. I am saying support in a different way. Right? There are plenty of people doing the marching. Let them, because we have put our bodies on the line for so damn long, right? We don't need to be seen in that part of it. So what I'm saying is you can support by helping someone have lost their jobs quietly. That's support in a real tangible way without putting yourself, because here's the thing, everything is digitized. So you go out there, you say, I'm going to donate to this organization. They're watching who's donating to what.
Okay.
Yes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I got you.
Right?
Okay.
There was just but I hear what you're saying, my sister. So you can support, but support in ways that won't draw attention to you.
Understood.
All right?
I get that.
Thank you, my darling. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right,
all right. Bye, honey.
Yeah.
The phone lines are open. Sorry, Laura. The phone lines are open 215-400-0146. Andrea says, move in silence like the 6 layers in lasagna, like the Gina. She's so quiet. But I understand. Someone else posted, a doctor sent this to me last night while I was sleeping, and she said, the Faraday bags. And I said this, I remember telling you all this again years and years ago, before you all started doing this, that everything we say and do on our phones, I mean, there's a little yellow light that pops up on our phones sometimes. You can tell that we're being listened to. This gentleman who was a part of ex-CIA operative said, even when you take the batteries out of your phone, they can still hear. It's coded. They can still hear what you're saying. Put your stuff in. And so don't have conversations, blah, 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 blah. We have to stop thinking that we are nothing and everything isn't being listened to. We just have to stop. Chris Norris sent me a thing yesterday about AI and how literally they're now taking all our information that they've been taking for years, and then the computers zero out and start all over then and put their own information in, because it makes them 1,000% smarter than who we are as people right now. Our brains only operate between 10 to maybe 2 to 10%, because if we operated at a level that is higher than that, we would just implode. But I'm saying to you, please, 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 it's okay to just not say anything. We have gotten to a place where we have to talk about all the things, where we're going, what we're doing, blah, 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 blah. It's become so rote for us. And take the time and take the break. Viola says, I have my bags in my car. Take the breaks as needed. You don't have to tell people where you go on vacation. You don't have to tell them any of those things. Just take the break and be okay. Be okay with not posting that you're in the sunset or the sun. You ever watch me? Long after I've gone, except when I'm traveling across the country, it's like a day or two after I'm gone, you get where I was the day or two before. Now I just stopped altogether. Y'all probably looking at my pages and go, she ain't going nowhere this year? I need you all to move a little bit more silently. Jazenia said, there's a new chime on my phone. It started at the end of last year. So all of this is being collected. Monica says he has sent ice here before already. Now, please know the new agenda is coming as well. Just quietly. The sneak, watch, be aware, and share this. It is... I tell you what, let me tell you what I see right now. I don't envy anybody who works in city government right now. I don't. Because there is a level of discomfort that they feel, and they can't say anything, and they're worried about what's going to happen. Now, unless you are, I am also noticing that the cities where Black women are leading are on the agenda. I noticed that white women, where women are leading, let me just say the cities where women are leading are on the agenda, or governors, right? But I noticed when white men are challenged and they challenge him back, it's something, man. It is a lot. It's a lot. So the phone lines are open, 215-400-0146. Call me. Tell me how you're navigating through all of this. And I mean emotionally. I don't need you to get in any great detail, because I want to be very protective of all of you. But how are you navigating through all of this? Laverne says, I interviewed someone that is homeless, unhoused. I struggled balancing how I can help her with being professional on if hiring her is a good decision. Well, if she was someone who was always working, lost her job, and fell on hard times, you can hire someone like that, because they didn't choose. Nobody chooses to be unhoused. Now, if she is unhoused and she is struggling with a substance abuse, you help her to get the substance abuse help that she can, and to help her to find some place to go. And because here's the thing, I need you all to get this from me. Mistakes should not be detrimental and final. When people make mistakes, it's not for you to go, oh my God, see, they did this, and this. People learn their lessons and they move on. And so being unhoused doesn't mean you're a criminal. Being unhoused means you could very often means you're falling on hard times, couldn't afford that rent payment, and then not only could you not afford the rent payment. So let me just play the scenario for you. You rent a space, it's $1,700 a month. Your paycheck is $2,900 a month. So every month you're paying this rent, and you get to month 9 or 10, and you have something come up, a doctor's appointment, your insurance doesn't cover it, medication, your insurance doesn't fully cover it. And you're like, all right, what am I going to do? But I need to have this thing so I can, manage. So you take care of the thing and you fall behind on your rent, and you say, all right, I'll catch up next month. But next month never comes because you're constantly falling behind, because you have to take, one simple thing can cause major pushback on your life. So you've been evicted from your place, but you can't afford to pay the $1,700 now. You get evicted from your place, and in order for you to get into another place, you have to come up with first, last month, 1 month security, and you have to applicate the application fees that you have to pay. Do you see where I'm going with this? So I need us to be in a space where we stop judging people about what we see, because we just don't know. We just don't know. Oh, child. So I hope that makes sense to you, Laverne. Marguerite says, I have a close friend who has lived in DC all her life, and she has said this is the first time she has felt uncomfortable at home. Child, Lord. iPhones are recording if you put it to your ears. They're recording whether it's on your ears or not, Viola. I watch mine recording me all the time. And when I see that yellow light come on, I was like, all right, whatever. I stopped talking. Monica says he goes nuts when challenged. He makes fast moves, but makes no sense. Dangerous, strong moves on a massive level. It's crazy. And folks are also saying, rightly or wrongly, that this is happening because he's trying to distract us from the Epstein files. But it's still happening. It's still happening. So what do we do here? Laverne says we are in survival mode on a different level. Absolutely. She said, my sister worked for the school district. They kept her for the school year and fired her in June, knowing her clearance had a record. They used her because they were short-staffed. She appealed. Wow. Monica says it seems that the next move is to draw us out. Laverne says, my brother-in-law says it will probably come to Philly and Chicago as well. Alexandra says, crime is down to its lowest in 30 years, and this is a test for cities run by black mayors, like Texas is a test. So, good morning. Laverne says, my in-laws live in D.C. I asked him yesterday. Wait a minute. Let me go back to this. I asked him yesterday what was happening. He said, stopping the crime is not a bad idea. The concern is us being targeted and hurt or killed. He said it's about control. Beatrice said they just took their youngest daughter to Howard this Friday past. So yes. Good morning. Okay, so let me see what else is happening. Bobby says, I have and still assist those in need. I have learned to just do it and not be the one who lets all know. Absolutely. Continue to do that, my brother. Laverne says, yes, because I don't want to not hire because she's homeless, but I also don't want to hire her and can't rely on her because it becomes an issue with her being reliable and not paying on my heartstrings. I guess there's more to the story than you're saying, because I don't, Okay. So there's all of that going on. Let me cover a little bit of the news and see what I can get here. My Lord. So are you willing, and I played that second thing, are you willing to downsize your entire life for your own survival? Because I look now and I say to folks, if you've got to move in a second, you've got to have a bag that has the basic stuff in it, not the fur coat, not the, I got to carry this and this memorabilia. Then you load down your vehicle if you have one. And if you have to leave your vehicle and move, you can't carry all that stuff with you. So how are we downsizing our lives now? What does that look like? Right? Because you just cannot. And in 2020, when COVID started, what happened was we were all on the line buying air fryers and buying this and buying that. We came out of that pandemic and had way too much ish in our houses, way too much. And so, what are we doing? I don't. It's hard to describe. And you hear me? I am feeling the same things that you are feeling too. Right? Just quietly trying to figure out how we need to do this. So let me read a little bit of the news. President Donald Trump has announced that he is taking federal control of Washington, D.C., police department and deploying 800 National Guard troops to the city in response to what he called an out-of-control crime wave, per the New York Times. The people of Washington, D.C. are living in fear, and I will not stand by while bloodthirsty criminals terrorize the Capitol, Trump said during a White House press briefing. If D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we would have no choice but to take federal control of the city. Trump's move overrides local authority, making a sharp escalation in his efforts to exert federal power over cities, especially ones run by Democrats. On Monday, August 11, Trump invoked a provision of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act to justify his D.C. takeover, declaring a public safety emergency. Trump said Attorney General Pam Bondi would oversee the Metropolitan Police Department. This was written by BIN blackentertainmentnews.com. Black Information, I'm sorry, not entertainment, Black Information News. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser holds press conference in regard to Donald Trump announcement plans to make D.C. safer. Bowser highlighted the district's parks, schools, and public transportations and said that it was important for those who live and visit here to know just how beautiful our city is and how proud we all are of what we've accomplished here. Bowser's comments are a response to President Trump's announcement of his takeover of D.C. police force. Bowser said that the steps are unsettling, but not without precedent. My message to residents is this: we know that access to our democracy is tenuous. That is why you have heard me and many Washingtonians before me advocate for full statehood. This was written by pbs.org. So yeah, she's really dancing the line. She is, and she has to. My Lord. 10 years after the Supreme Court extended marriage rights to same-sex couples nationwide, the justices this fall will consider for the first time whether to take up a case that explicitly asked them to overturn that decision. Kim Davis, the former Kentucky County Clerk, who was jailed for 6 days in 2015 after refusing to issue marriage licenses to a gay couple on religious grounds, is appealing a $100,000 jury verdict for emotional damages plus $260,000 for attorney fees in a petition for writ of certiorari filed last month. Davis argues First Amendment protection for free exercise of religion immunizes her from personal liability for the denial of marriage licenses. Now, y'all said Roe versus Wade would never be overturned, and that abortions would be still legal. And here we are now, folks running from state to state trying to get abortions to save their very lives because they have pregnancies that are giving them a hard time. As a direct result, many of our young people are saying they are not having children. They're just not. They're not. They're doing everything that they can to stay, to protect themselves, use birth control so that they don't get pregnant. They don't want children to be born in here, in this climate that we're in. 6abc.com wrote that article. Pennsylvania's House of Representatives voted Monday to pass legislation that would provide SEPTA with the funding it needs to avoid the looming doomsday service cuts just 3 days ahead of the transit agency's deadline. The Democratic-backed bill passed the chamber 108-95 over the objection of nearly every Republican in said chamber. The bill increases aid for transit agency operations by $292 million, or about 25% more, with the lion's share of the monies going to the Philadelphia-based SEPTA. State representatives were expected to approve the funding, as they have repeatedly approved similar proposals over the last several months. The nearly $1 billion bill has the support of Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro, and includes funding for highways and bridge projects in all 67 counties. The Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, otherwise known as SEPTA, funding package also incorporates a safety and accountability bill proposed by the Senate Republicans. So, the House passed it. We're still waiting for the Senate. So here we go. Let's see. And I think the Senate is supposed to meet this morning based on what I read yesterday. A Georgia man who had blamed the COVID-19 vaccine for making him depressed and suicidal has been identified as the shooter who opened fire late Friday on the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters, killing a police officer. The 30-year-old suspect, who died during the incident, had also tried to get the CDC's headquarters in Atlanta, but was stopped by guards before driving to a pharmacy across the street and opening fire, a law enforcement official told the Associated Press on Saturday. The man, identified as Patrick Joseph White, was armed with 5 guns, including at least 1 long gun, the official said, speaking on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to publicly discuss the investigation. This was written by phillytrib.org. Now, every time I see something about the COVID-19 vaccine, I wonder where Anthony Fauci is, Dr. Anthony Fauci is, if he's still in the country, if he left. I mean, just no, and I don't blame him for not being, I don't blame him for being quiet, very silent and moving silently, because baby, he was given a pardon by President Biden, but the current President Trump is saying, he may revoke some of these pardons. I don't even know if that is possible, but I can look and see what's going on here, because this is a lot, y'all. Cheese and crackers. There's so much going on here. Let me check some of these messages while I am at it. All right. Right. Sterling said, people need to listen to this. We will survive if we prepare. Good morning, Winetta, Melissa, Simone, all of you. Good morning. All right, hear this. Sterling said, people need to listen to this. We will survive if we prepare. Sterling, we have been talking about this for months, and then I just stopped. I told them, I said there was going to come a point where I would not have this discussion with any of you. You all have to figure it out, because everything is on the agenda. And I think folks, in the beginning, we have 3 branches of government. This can't happen, and it is happening, right? And so now we're sitting here going, oh, but it feels like we're watching it unfold and really feeling helpless about what can we do. This morning when I get off the air, I'm going to upload the video, the interview that I did with Congresswoman Madeline Dean. So look out for that, okay? Leverne says, so many think they're fine because they made lots of money in his first term and are thriving, not paying attention to how different this term is. Leverne, you're absolutely right. I took an Uber some months ago, and it was a Jamaican man. And he said, women have way too much agency in this country, that he made a lot of money in Trump's first term, and that he was going to make more money now, and that he was, this. And I remember writing to my sisters, and I was like, yo, this man was talking, and I just sat there and listened, because I didn't want to judge him sight unseen. I just wanted to hear, as a Black man and an immigrant, what his thoughts were. And so when he said women have way too much agency, and we need to come back to that, this morning with my husband, I was listening to this white nationalist Christian movement that have hundreds of churches now around the country, and they have access to Pete Hegseth, and they were interviewed by a journalist, and this was on Instagram, and the journalist said to them, she says, I am a mother of 3, and I work. Does that bother you? He said, no, it doesn't necessarily bother me. He said, but I think women, they have way too many degrees. They need to stay home, that men should be the ultimate ruler of the households. I felt like I was watching The Handmaid's Tale in real life. And then he said they also want to revoke the 19th Amendment and go back to just having men vote on behalf of their families. And so she said, well, what if your wife disagrees with you? He said, well, then I still get the final say. We'll come together as a family, but I still get the final say. They want women, these men, and there was a pastor who was a woman who said that this group is gaining such power across the country, and they're really trying to take back the America that they think would work, because when we gave women rights, when we gave them the right to an abortion, that was the reason why so many of the numbers of babies are so low in particular cultures. When we gave them the right to vote, they were becoming leaders of organizations, and leaders of cities and states. That was not what they intended for this to happen, and so they want to revoke the 19th Amendment. And so with all the things that are going on, pay attention to that too. Joanne says there were reports that some of the National Guards deployed to LA defecated in showers and Humvees due to dissatisfaction with being deployed there. I wonder what they may do or say going forward. Don't know. Dr. Fauci most likely left the country, Alexandra says, because the current administration and Congress had hearings against him. He's been getting death threats since COVID. Lord have mercy. Whew. So much is going. So much. DT for Life says, I'm watching this like it's a bad dream. It's a lot. It's a lot. And we have to be prepared. And so I'm wondering, we're looking to our elected leadership to make sure that we are safe. But hear me correctly. That's nice. That's nice that you're looking for our elected, and we should. But this right now, where we are, comes down to us really making sure that we are safe, that we are taking care of ourselves, that we are able to make something out of nothing. And I think so many, in my mind's eye, I can see so many people of color dying in this because, I need to have a particular car, and I need to wear a particular piece of clothes, and we're not just thinking long term, not just about ourselves, but our families. And what does that look like? If you have no electricity, can you open a can of something and, cook outside? Can you cook something outside? Do you know how to do all of that? Do you know how to make something out of nothing? We were born and raised that way, and we've gotten so comfortable with all the levels of success that we've gained, and we advertised it, and baby, they came for us. And I said it. I said, they're coming for us. They're coming for us. And I still will never forget the sister who said, what evidence do you have that they're coming for us? And I was like, are you not watching the news? Are you not paying attention to what's going on out here? So it's a lot happening. Amina says, I wonder if the women of these groups and churches are actually denying themselves access to information, education, and agency on purpose. Never mind being a woman, but as a human being, why deny yourself access if it's within your reach? They're married to these men, and they believe and codify what their husbands are saying to them. They have their whole communities of them right now, where they're, separating themselves from everybody. So you see it all around the country, Right now, we have free agency to move to a certain extent, but baby, I don't know. I really do not know. An explosion Monday at a U.S. steel plant near Pittsburgh has left dozens injured or trapped under the rubble, with emergency workers on site trying to rescue them, officials said. There are no confirmed fatalities at the Clairton Coke Works, said Abigail Gardner, director of communications for Allegheny County. The explosion sent black smoke spiraling into the midday sky. In the Monongahela Valley, a region synonymous with the state for more than a century. The Allegheny County Emergency Services said a fire at the plant started around 10:51 a.m. and that it has transported 5 people. The agency did not provide any more details on those people transported and would only say it was an active scene. So it says here there were people trapped under the rubble. So we'll hear more about that today. Lord, I forgot all about him. Marty Small. Trial dates are set in the child abuse case against Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small and his wife, AC School District Superintendent Dr. Laquetta Small. The couple were charged with second-degree child endangerment after being accused of beating and mentally abusing their teenage daughter last year. Anyone convicted of a third-degree crime or higher is prohibited from holding public office, according to prosecutors. Meanwhile, Dr. Laquetta Small's trial is set to begin on December 1st. She still faces a 5-year prison sentence because her attorney never made a counteroffer, prosecutors said. This is written by Fox29News.com. Oh, God. President Donald Trump on Monday confirmed he and his administration are considering reclassifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug. Trump told reporters that it was early in the process, but that he hoped to make a decision on the matter within the coming weeks. We're looking at reclassification and will make a determination over the next few weeks, and that determination hopefully will be the right one. It's a very complicated subject, Trump said as he held a news conference in the White House briefing room. That was abcnews.com. Wait, AOL still exists? AOL, which is called America Online, an internet pioneer that brought millions of Americans online for the first time, is discontinuing its dial-up service next month. The company that brought the internet to the masses in the 1990s and early 2000s recently posted a notice on its website saying that it routinely evaluates its products and has decided to discontinue dial-up internet on September 30th, ending more than 3 decades of operations. Even as broadband and wireless internet became the predominant way people access the internet, AOL never stopped offering its sluggish service that connects people to its service over a landline. However, about 16,000 people connect to the internet through their landline telephone service, data from the 2023 U.S. Census shows. Wow. There is so much weather-related activity around the world that people are now starting to pay attention. A magnitude 6.1 earthquake struck Turkey's northwestern province of Balıkesir on Sunday, causing about a dozen buildings to collapse, and officials said at least one person was trapped in the debris of a collapsed building. The earthquake, with an epicenter in the town of Sindirgi, sent shocks that were felt some 200 kilometers, 125 miles to the north of Istanbul, a city of more than 16 million people. Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya told the nationwide NTV broadcaster that 5 people, including an elderly woman, were rescued from a collapsed building. NBC Philadelphia wrote this. Oh boy. The University of Pennsylvania is shuttering its Office of Equal Opportunity and Engagement in the Carey Law School as the Trump administration threatens to withdraw funding to schools that don't end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. While the branch won't be closed until the end of the summer, its website has already been shut down, the Daily Pennsylvanian reported. The office has provided resources, trainings, and other DEI service for students and faculty, including a guide on how to report discrimination claims. Ooh, my Lord, on today. That was written by PhillyVoice.com. Colleges will be required to submit data to prove they do not consider race in admissions under a new policy ordered on Thursday by President Donald Trump. In 2023, the Supreme Court ruled against the use of affirmative action in admissions, but said colleges may still consider how race has shaped students' lives if applicants share that information in their admission essays. Trump is accusing colleges of using personal statements and other proxies to consider race, which conservatives view as illegal discrimination. The role of race in admissions has featured in the Trump administration's battle against some of the nation's most elite colleges, viewed by Republicans as liberal hotbeds. For example, the new policy is similar to parts of recent settlement agreements the government negotiated with Brown University and Columbia University, restoring their federal research money. Lord have mercy. Lord, there's a lot going on in here. Good God. This is too much. Joanne says, supposedly Google says Dr. Fauci is on staff at Georgetown University. Well, maybe he is. I don't know. But if I were him, I'm just saying. Marguerite says, in addition to downsizing, we got to get our minds right to disconnect from family and friends that do not have mind to move when necessary. Be willing to leave those we love behind. Oh, baby. White women were considered negotiable property in this country by their parents and husbands since its founding. They need them home to make babies because white births are low. Roland Martin has said this, that said for years that since Obama administration, they're coming for us. The election of Obama, then Harris as vice president of the United States, into overdrive. Yep. She says there's also a website where you can track the progress of 2020, progress of Project 2020-25. Jesus, it's I don't know what to tell y'all. You know, you heard me say that I'm moving away from Instagram and from Facebook. You know, this where I am now on YouTube is working brilliantly. I can also now start to upload on Substack. I think I can do live on Substack now. I'm trying to move, you know, from different places. So this is why I try to get you all to come on over to YouTube. Acclimate yourself to doing it. And when you're on YouTube, you can push it up on your television and watch on your television quite comfortably in, you know, doing whatever it is that you do. D Teach for Life says folks have to stay attentive to what they're doing in our educational institutions K to 12. I know another sister, and I'll talk about it when she finally steps out of this university. I will name the university and we'll do but they fired her too under the pretense that, you know, she did something wrong. And when it was proven that she didn't do something wrong, then they told her that, you know, they're moving in another direction. And so I believe at the end of next week is when she's leaving. So to protect her and the negotiations that she's made with the college, because she had to hire a lawyer. You know, I won't say who, where, what, and why until after she is gone. Gone, and then I will talk about it more openly. But Black women are being let go in ways you can't even begin to imagine. There's this fear, and so for private colleges like Howard and Spelman and Morehouse and Atlanta Clark is a public university, I believe, Atlanta Clark University. How are we navigating through this? As he's talking about, you know, colleges will not be getting any funding if you're a public college or you depend on money from the federal government, which I believe just about all colleges do. You know, that he's going to punish you. So whatever is going on at Howard University is something that we have to watch. According to a friend of mine who has worked in the bursar's office at several universities, this person said to me, Howard's got some stuff with them, she said, but there's also this thing where, you know, they give students access based on the amount of money they're supposed to get from their federal grants, federal loans, whatever. And she says that sometimes when they think the money is coming, the money doesn't show up. And so that then becomes the student's responsibility to take care of that money that the federal loan did not cover. In this new administration that we're in, we have to be very careful to make sure that that's not happening. And parents, she also says, when your child goes into college, there's a thing that they ask you to sign that you can have access to your students. You can have access to the college, that you can have access to your students' grades. Your children may balk against it, but it's stuff like this. When you don't sign that thing and you need to find out what's going on at the college does not have to answer you. They will only talk to your child, the student. And so parents have to be voracious, get in their cars and go up to these colleges and ask the questions and ask to be shown why X, Y, and Z. Because right now at Howard University are quite a few students who don't have parents with the kinds of money that is needed to pay the $63,000 a year tuition, that are now taking gap years because they can't afford this new thing that Howard has sent to them, telling them all that they owe money on bills that they didn't even know they owed. So part of the issue is Part of the issue is the Howard did come out and say that, they have loan programs that they can loan to folks, they have to, so I don't know, and they're saying that it's the new system, new updated system that they put up. The student that I spoke to last Friday said everything is antiquated there. And so they're trying to figure out how to navigate what's happening. But there's students who are in distress right now about what's happening there. Based on what our current administration is saying and doing, I don't even know how Howard is going to navigate through these next waters. And it is why we say to all of you that as alumni, there are wealthy people that came out of Howard University, that we wouldn't even have to depend on anything and help the students as much as possible. There's our wealthy alumni that could all put together and put millions in the pot that says to Howard, this must only go to students who absolutely need it, right? And have to prove to them. But we're sitting around waiting for things that may never appear again in our lifetimes. And so how do we navigate that, right? Alexandra says, Mother, when I watch on the television, the cat comes and sits on the sofa watching you. She knows your voice. Well, say hello to the cat for me. So we are here. She also says the Department of Education has gotten rid of Pell Grants along with the student loan caps from the Yep. So colleges are going to have to figure out how to navigate so they can fare well. Penn State University has an alumni pot of money that is unbelievably full, right? And so they're able to navigate. There's some universities who are able to navigate without having to worry about this grant money from the government. I think when all of this washes and rinses out over the next few years, some of these top-notch universities are going to lose the kinds of students that they would always want, simply because of them feeling forced into capitulating to whatever this new government wants from them. And so there are folks who will never come back to them. Columbia was talking about taking away the degrees from 5 people who were protesting about Israel. Right now, Benjamin Netanyahu was saying that he's moving everybody out of Gaza, and that Israel will completely own Gaza. And, anyone who speaks up about this is then summarily chastised and penalized. There's just so many things going on. And oh, by the way, Russia's president, Vladimir Putin, is supposed to meet with our president on Friday, according to the news. So there was a time in America where Black folks could not enter certain institutions, go to certain schools, public or otherwise. And I believe there's a time coming where we're going to have to now figure out how to educate our children, right? And maybe at this level, we'll be able to educate our children in a way and give them the history that they wouldn't ordinarily get. It's just a lot, right? Alexandra, all of this is happening because they've gotten rid of the Pell Grants. Who depended on the Pell Grants more than anybody else, right? And the student loan caps from, you can only borrow $200 and something $1,000 over your lifetime of borrowing money. And quite frankly, if Howard is $63,000 a year, that's just for your undergraduate degree. What if you want to get a master's? What if you want to get a PhD? So those days are over. The punishment is not just Black women. We're firing Black women. We're creating a scenario where many more children of color and poor people will not be able to access these universities and get the degrees that everybody's so angry about. Pay attention to the bouncing ball. Follow the money, right? So it's not easy. Lord have mercy. It is 7:30. I want to thank you all again for another morning. I have additional guests coming on, in the week. Look for the interview with Congresswoman Madeline Dean to be pushed up today. That will be up so you can watch and see what's happening there. I am grateful. I continue to be grateful that you wake up every morning, including the cats, to listen to what we have to say here on Mornings with Mother. This episode is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye, darlings. Let me see. What is this? No Black doctors, no Black lawyers. Hey, well, you know what, Alexandra? We have to go back to what we do because everything is on the agenda right now. Every single thing. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.